Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Sikit Malay, where we will learn a bit of Malay every week. On today's lesson, we will be learning about Malay grammar, and specifically how to make simple sentences in Malay. We will look at how to create simple sentences in the form of A, followed by is, am, are, be. The first part of sentence is the subject, the main idea of the sentence, of what you're going to talk about, while the latter is called the predicate, which describes the subject. So for example, in English, you have sentences like, I'm Ali. Basically, I is the subject, and am Ali is the predicate that describes the subject. Next, we have, she is Siti. Again, same pattern, where she is the subject and is Siti describes about the subject, she. Then we have, this is a bicycle, followed by, that's a bus. They are friends. And last but not least, the book is expensive. So in Malay, the pattern that we see just now would become A, subject, followed by B, the predicate. For example, saya Ali. I'm Ali. Dia Siti. She is Siti. Ini basikal. This is a bicycle. Itu bus. That's a bus. Mereka kawan. They are friends. Buku mahal. The book is expensive. By the way, the words on the top right side of the screen shows you the vocabulary of the words that you need to know in this lesson. So as you can see from these sentences, you will notice that the Malay language lacks the copular verb is, am, are, was, and were. For example, saya Ali. But in English, you would say I am Ali, not I Ali. You would have the verb am between the subject and the predicate. You can also see that Malay lacks tenses, which is very common in Malay, and the only way you can tell whether something happens in the future, present, or past is through the use of adverbs or time, which describes the event of the action, or through context. For example, if you're speaking about last night's party, you would know that the context will always be in the past tense, even though in Malay we don't use past tense. Since Malay lacks the copular verb, separating between the subject and its predicate can be difficult, and the whole sentence can sometimes be mistaken for a noun phrase. For example, consider the sentence that we saw just now. Buku mahal. Buku mahal can either mean, first, the book is expensive, which is a sentence. However, it can also become a noun phrase, meaning an expensive book. Buku mahal. Book which is expensive. To avoid confusion, Malays use words like ini, itu, ialah, and adalah, and add them between the subject and the predicate in order to separate the two parts. For example, buku tu mahal. That book is expensive. Awak ni sakit. You're sick. In daily conversation, itu and ini are often shortened to tu and ni. So itu becomes tu and ini becomes just ni. And itu and ini are demonstrative pronouns, which tells you if the subject is close to the speaker or far away from the speaker. So for example, in sentence 2, you say awak ni sakit, meaning you are sick. However, in English, you don't use ini or this to refer to the subject you. However, in Malay, it is quite common to use ini with other pronouns such as you or I. Next, we will see how we use ialah and adalah. So, the third sentence, Kuala Lumpur ialah ibu negara Malaysia. KL is the capital city of Malaysia. John adalah tinggi, meaning John is tall. There's a couple of differences with the usage of itu, ini, ialah, and adalah. So, for example, you would use ini, meaning this, when the subject is near you, while you use itu when the subject is far from you. Ialah is used in front of a noun phrase. For example, ialah city. In English, it just means am or is city. So the words before ialah city is the subject, while city is a noun phrase because city is a noun. And also like ialah orang baik, meaning am or is a good person. So orang baik is a good person, and that is a noun phrase. So you would use the word ialah. Adalah, meanwhile, is used in front of an adjective, verb, or prepositional phrase. For example, adalah menarik. Am, is, or are interesting. Menarik, meaning interesting, is an adjective phrase. Next example, adalah menyanyi. So you can say, hobi saya adalah menyanyi. My hobby is singing. So singing or menyanyi is a verb phrase. So you would use adalah. So lastly, for example, you can say, hadiah ini adalah untuk dia. This present is for her. So untuk dia is a prepositional phrase because untuk dia means for him or for her. So in daily conversations, you would usually use ini and itu, while ialah and adalah are mostly used in formal writing. However, the difference between ialah and adalah is becoming much more vague because people now tend to use only the word adalah instead of ialah, or sometimes they use them interchangeably. However, in Malay, not using words like ini, itu, ialah, or adalah is completely fine. Most of the time, you can get away with it, or sometimes it's even considered grammatically correct if you don't use them. So, my suggestion is to not bother actually using ini, itu, ialah, or adalah in your sentences. It is fine just to say saya James or dia Ila, or you can just say kereta besar to say the car is big, and Malay speakers would understand you just fine. And that is all for today's lesson. Ask any question in the comments if you have any. And last but not least, thank you very much and see you next time.